Okay, welcome to the first episode of a brand new video format I'm trying out here, where we go over and analyze very interesting visual data. And today's episode is all about latitude data on maps. I promise it's more fascinating than it sounds, and if you guys enjoy the content, I appreciate a like, subscribe for more, and let's do this. Okay, so this first one is population density by latitude. As we can see here, redder latitudes equals higher population density, and immediately you can see that this band right here has a ton of people living in it. Now this band goes right through the middle of the Sahara Desert, and I can guarantee you essentially nobody lives there. But if you look elsewhere, we can see where all this population comes from. And it's right here around Delhi in India and southern China. And of course, we all know that India and China are the two most populous countries on the entire planet. And you know what? I think Mexico does add to the total as well. Of course, it's not nearly as populated as China or India, but a lot of people do live here. Another interesting high population band is this smaller one that goes right through the capital of Nigeria. And fun fact, this area of the world is about to explode in population. So this infographic right here shows you the top 10 countries by population, 2017 data, and the projected 2021 data. So right now, China has a population of about 1.4 billion, but by the year 2021, it's projected to be only 732 million. And when it comes to Nigeria, right now they have 206 million people, but by the year 2021, they are projected to have 791 million people, making them more populous than China in that year. Okay, now this map is a ton of fun to look at and break down, and this is showing you what's on the other side of the ocean at specific latitudes. So if you actually begin at the southern hemisphere, this right here, excluding Antarctica, is the southernmost piece of land, and that's why there's nothing else adjacent to it. But once you get into this band right here, this is the same latitude as New Zealand. In fact, New Zealand is a bit more south than the southernmost tip of Australia, and that's why we have this discrepancy here between New Zealand and Australia. And then all the way up here is where the southern tip of Africa finally starts. And just zooming into the west coast of the North American continent, we can see that Moscow is all the way up here. Ulaanbaatar is the capital of Mongolia, and surprisingly, it's almost at the same latitude as Seattle. And just south of Seattle is where Japan finally comes into the equation. And Japan is a lot longer than most people think, going all the way down to the Baja Peninsula. And finally, if we do the same thing with the eastern coast of the US, this is what we get. The first thing to note is that London is all the way up here, Paris is right here, and Madrid in Portugal is almost the same latitude as New York City. You really do tend to forget just how north the European continent is, and the reason for that is all because of
the Gulf Stream.
Brings warm water from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up to the North Atlantic over here, and in the process it makes the European continent a lot more hospitable. And thus, even though Portugal and New York are on the same latitude, the climate of New York is much more similar to, say, Paris. Okay, and finally I want to end the video with this map right here. I could look at this all day long, and this shows you the antipodes of the world. So for example, Australia is right here in black, but the opposite side of the world from Australia is right here in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And where we see green on the map, this is where actual land is opposite of other land. So for example, Argentina and Chile are opposite of eastern China. And over here in Canada, the archipelago is opposite of Antarctica. Opposite of the African continent is the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and North America is in the middle of the, what do you call this, the Southern or the Indian Ocean. If you guys want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.